All right. Welcome back to Big B Sports Talk Podcast. I appreciate you guys coming back and taking a listen here. Again, everywhere, just knock this out real quick. We're everywhere that you get your podcasts. Also, we're on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe and like button. Also, that little bell, that little, identifier. It notifies you when we have new content out. So please keep supporting. I appreciate it. And it's Kool-Aid Sports on YouTube. And again, Big B's podcast, Big B Sports Talk podcast, everywhere you get your podcasts. So thank you guys for the support. Diving into this, it is a topic that I wanted to kind of wait a little bit and talk about is this transfer portal. Transfer portal is a good thing. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people that say, no, it's not, Brian. It's the rich getting richer and we can't stay at. That's not true. It's not even remotely true. I look at it, and as you guys know, I'm clearly a fan, lifelong fan of Louisville. Diehard K-State as well. I went to K-State. So I look at things from their perspectives. And it's interesting because the perspectives are different. Because the dynamics of the two universities are different. Louisville, metropolitan city, big school, big city, lots of resources. It's different than K-State. It's not that K-State doesn't have a lot of resources, but it's Manhattan, Kansas. It's in the middle of Kansas. Not a big city. A lot bigger than when I went there, but not a big city. It's literally a college town. And it's a great college town, by the way. Let's throw that in there. And it's not just me saying it. I mean, I lived it. But if you just drove into Manhattan, Kansas, you drive in there on a Saturday for a football game, it's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I look at it from those two perspectives. And with this transfer portal, a lot of K-State fans think that it's bad. And I'm here to tell you why it's not. Is because, first of all, the transfer portal is the new recruiting. Let's just call it what it is. Things evolve. Things change. And the quicker that you change with it, the better that you're going to be. Okay? Look at the one and done situation. Kentucky mastered it. They started it, mastered it. Duke's tapped into it, mastered it. Kansas tapped into it. All these schools, and everybody can't do it. Everybody can't do it. One and done is not good for K-State. It's not good for Louisville. I'm not saying that it can't be, but that's not the programs aren't. I'm not saying they're not on those levels, but the programs aren't built like that. They don't have that. They're just not built that way, which is fine. But they've changed. Recruiting changed. The one and done changed things. When the NBA put that into place, that guys had to go at least 1 year out of college or out of high school, had to spend at least 1 year before they could go pro. And we're not here to talk about that, but that changed things. So teams adapted, schools adapted, and that's what you had to do. Transfer portal is literally the same thing. Now, like I said, I know K-State fans think that the rich get richer. That's not true. That's not true. There are first of all, you know how many kids are wanting to transfer that want to play college football. Let's start there. Just plethora. They're still going to get the same opportunities. Kids that go from this school and say they want to go to Kansas. And we'll use Kansas as an example, which I'm not trying to burn K-State fans, but we'll use it as an example. They had a kid this year that was all Pac-12 from Arizona State that is now playing at Kansas. And I know your first thought is, well, the rich get richer. You're right in that sense. But who's to say that K-State can't go get a guy from a Marshall or a Eastern Kentucky or, a Boise State to come to K-State and play? You can do that. You have to think outside the box and get with this transfer portal. It's not going anywhere. And to be honest, you don't want it to go anywhere because it can benefit your program. It can absolutely benefit your program. I'm talking about on the basketball side of it right this second. I'll get to the football side of it here in a minute. As the basketball side of it, you have to want to be involved in it. And yes, your program is going to lose some guys as well. That's just the way that it goes. Your program's going to lose some people, but you can also get some people. It can't be, you know what, I just want to get high school guys and I'm just going to have them here 4 years and that's it. Well, if that's what you want to do, your program is in trouble. It's in trouble. You can't think that way. This transfer portal is a great thing. Giving kids opportunities. Now, I know what some people are going to say. Well, they made a commitment. Then why don't you hold adults to those same commitments that you want to hold 18 through 22-year-olds? Why don't you hold a coach to his commitment if he says, I'm signed a contract for 5 years, and you know what? Such and such school decides that he wants them, that they want him, and then they leave. You don't hold them to that same standard and say that they should have to stay there. So why do you do it to children? That's always bugged me. It's like, why do we hold children to these standards that we don't hold adults to? You know, be smart about it. Like, the kids are transferring. They're not allowed to change their mind. Like, I made a decision and that's the only decision and I can't change my mind? Hey, it's not working out here the way that I thought. And yes, you're going to run into some kids that they're leaving for playing time and whatever. Well, okay. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying, hey, I went to this school, I didn't get to play, I want to go somewhere else where I can play or try to get to play? What's wrong? I mean, just literally tell me what's wrong with that because I don't know. It's like, hey, I work at this job. I'm not making what I thought I should be making, so I took another job and went there. People do that literally every single day, and nobody cares. So why can't a kid make a decision to do the same thing? It's the same thing. You know, you're allowed to change your mind. I'm not saying they're not getting in trouble. I'm just talking about the kid that says, I'm here, it's not working, I want to go here and see if I can make it work. Nothing wrong with that. Shouldn't be anything wrong with that. So let's stop manufacturing issues, especially when we're dealing with children. Because, again, 18 to 20, they're still kids. They're still kids. Now, back to the transfer portal. Again, it's great. Should have happened years ago. And you just have to be in this it's the new recruiting tool. It's a recruiting tool. Use it. Use it to your advantage. It's not always about the rich getting richer. Like I said, as a Kansas State former football player, this is something that we can use. And again, diving into the football aspect of it, and I guess basketball too, this is how Kansas State and K-State fans listen here. You don't have just a plethora of either high school basketball or college football, or high school football, high school basketball players that you can just pull from, okay? Your state doesn't have that, okay? Louisville's the same way. Louisville has a little more, and Kentucky has more, but they don't have this infinite amount of guys that can play at that level. So you have to branch out, reach out, go other places to recruit. Kansas would be the perfect example of that. I know what you're going to say. Well, they cheat. Everybody cheats. So let's miss me on that. But Kansas is in Kansas. They don't have this. It's not LA. It's not in Los Angeles or New York City. They have to go other places to get guys. Kansas State has to do the same thing. Louisville has to do the same thing. Now, Louisville, again, does have, it's a big city, so they've got some players there. But you can't get everybody from there. So you're having to go other places. Why not use all the tools that you can to get those players? Why restrict yourself? Transfer portal is a great way to do it. Not only that, it's better than JUCO. And I'm a former JUCO guy, and I advocate for JUCO. But it's better than JUCO. Why? Because these people have actually been in a program. They've done the right things. They didn't have to go to JUCO. Because trust me, as a guy that went to a junior college, you don't want to go. You have to go. These guys are not like that. They've been in a program, done the right things, done everything except maybe play, so they want to go somewhere else. And even a lot of guys do play. They just want to have a better opportunity playing on bigger stage. Zero wrong with that. And we as schools got to be able to dig in and dive into it. Louisville's doing it on the basketball front. Louisville is diving in. They've decided that this is where we're going to get our point guards. We're going to start getting point guards and guards every year from this transfer portal. And it has worked. It has worked. Now, can you build your program on constantly? I don't know. I don't know if you can or not. I don't know if every year you can count on having a point guard in the transfer portal that comes to your school. I don't know if you can do that, but isn't the same thing, can't that be said for recruiting high school kids too? You don't know how good they're going to be. You think they're going to be good. At least when you go to the transfer portal, it's a proven commodity. They've done it on the collegiate level. I'm willing to take my chances unless you're dealing with the best point guard, and even then there's still a growing, period. But you can go get a guy, whether it's point guard, whatever position, you can go get a proven commodity. You got to use it. You got to use it. It's here. First of all, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. K-State needs to dive into that. I'm on a podcast, with Tim Fitzgerald, talking about post-game and pre-game podcast for K-State football games. And one of the topics a few weeks back, when quarterback was hurt, we were talking about, hey, what do you think about the quarterback situation, behind this current starter? And I said, well, the quarterback for next year may not even be on campus. And I think that's a good thing. It's not always about homegrown, hey, they got to come up through the program. Do you want somebody to come up through your program, or do you want somebody that can come in and help your program? Is it about we're just going to start them as a freshman and coach them up? Or do you want this guy that comes into play, maybe he's wanting to increase his stock value, his draft status, or he just wants another opportunity to play college football because he knows he's not going to play professional, but he's a good player. Now, again, I'm not talking about somebody coming in that's had trouble at another school and stuff like that. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the kid that wants to transfer to come play because he wants a better opportunity for himself. That's it. We're not talking about off the field issue type of stuff, because that's a whole nother discussion that we're not talking about here. I'm just talking about the kids that are in the transfer portal because one reason or another it didn't work out at their school. I'm not talking about them getting trouble off the field. I'm just talking about, hey, I want to transfer. I don't want to be here anymore. I'd rather be somewhere else. I want to continue to play. I saw it firsthand with a guy that went to North Dakota State. I coached him, Jabril Cox. I coached him when he was 12 and 13 years old. He went to North Dakota State, was an All-American, went to LSU, his draft stock shot up the roof. Now he's with the Cowboys. Unfortunately, he's with the Cowboys. But good for him. He got drafted. So what I'm saying is the transfer portal is it's not a good thing. It's a great thing. It is great. Got to be embraced by everybody, man. I'm telling you. And if you use it right, it will increase, it will boost your program. It just will. And yeah, you're going to lose some guys. And maybe the rich get richer from time to time. The rich stay rich, don't they? So what difference does it make? Why can't you grab a little piece of that pie? Why can't you do that? Go do it. Yeah, you might not get the guy from Arizona State that averaged 19 a game to come to your school, but why can't you get the guy from Boise State? Why can't you get the guy from wherever and have him come into your program and be productive, help you win basketball games or football games? Believe in it, people. It's not going anywhere, and it shouldn't go anywhere. This is literally a great tool. It's just another recruiting tool that you have to use. You just have to use it. And your program, I promise you, it'll get better. If you use it the right way, your program, it can't help but get better. It will get better because, again, you're not bringing in you're bringing in guys that are hungry, guys that are trying to prove themselves. If anything, they're playing harder now because this is either their last chance or usually their last chance. I'm trying to improve something. I want to go and play because I didn't get to play. You want those guys in your program, don't you? Of course you do. And it doesn't matter whether it's football or basketball. In football, I think you have to have it in football. Basketball, maybe you can get around with it. I don't think your program's going to be as good if you don't. I know that for a fact. If you don't use the transfer in basketball, your program is not going to be as good as if you did use it. In football, it's a must. It is an absolute must that you use it. And use it well. Use it well. Thank you for tuning in. This is a passionate one for me, man, because like I said, this transfer thing has been going on forever. And this portal is basically transferring on steroids. I mean, it is just everybody gets into it. I mean, it's great. It's good. It's good for college basketball, man, and good for college football. It's just good for college athletics altogether. And trust me, you can use it to your program's advantage. It is to your advantage. It's not something that is a negative thing in any way. It's not negative. So don't look at it as negative because it isn't. It isn't. It will help, and it can help. Number one, it'll help your program, but more importantly, it's good for kids. It's good for kids. It's not about, well, they got to learn to keep commitment. No, come on. Come on. People are allowed to change their minds. They're allowed to do something different. That is okay. That's okay. That they went to your school and they decided to go to another school. That doesn't mean they're a traitor. That doesn't mean they're a bad kid. It just means they changed their mind. It just means, hey, it didn't work out here. That's all that it means. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Big B Sports Talk Podcast, anywhere you get your podcast. We're on YouTube with Kool-Aid Sports. Again, Kool-Aid with the C, Coolaid Sports. Come check us out. I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys.